Hey there, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to Roothaven Grounds. Today I'm absolutely thrilled to share one of my favorite topics with you, growing carrots at home. If you've been following along with us, you know I'm all about making gardening simple, accessible, and genuinely rewarding. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like pulling a perfectly formed carrot from your own soil, brushing off the dirt, and knowing exactly where your food came from. The best part? Growing carrots isn't nearly as complicated as many people think. In fact, with the right approach, you can have fresh, crunchy carrots available almost year-round. Whether you're a complete beginner or you've been gardening for years, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know to become a carrot-growing expert right in your own backyard or even in containers on your patio. One of the biggest misconceptions about carrots is that they're strictly a spring or fall crop. While it's true that carrots prefer cooler temperatures, with some strategic planning, you can actually grow them across multiple seasons. The key is understanding that carrots are incredibly cold tolerant once established. They can handle light frosts and even taste sweeter after exposure to cold weather. In most climates, you'll want to plant carrots in early spring, about 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost date. This gives you a beautiful summer harvest. Then plant again in mid to late summer for a fall and winter harvest. In milder climates, you can even plant in fall for winter and early spring harvests. The secret to continuous carrots is succession planting, which we'll dive into shortly. By staggering your plantings every 2 to 3 weeks during the growing season, you'll never run out of fresh carrots to pull from the ground. Here's where most carrot growing attempts succeed or fail, and I'm speaking from experience here. Carrots are root vegetables, which means they need deep, loose, well-draining soil to develop those long, straight roots we all want to see. Heavy clay soil or soil with lots of rocks and debris will give you forked, twisted, or stunted carrots. Start by working your soil to a depth of at least 12 inches, though. Honestly, 15 to 18 inches is even better if you can manage it. As you go, make sure to remove any stones, sticks, or clumps you encounter. I like to work compost into the top 6 inches of soil, but here's a crucial tip. Avoid using fresh manure or high nitrogen fertilizers right before planting. These can actually cause your carrots to fork or develop excessive foliage at the expense of root development. If you need to add manure, do it the season before planting. The ideal soil pH for carrots is between 6.0 and 6.8. If you're dealing with heavy clay soil like I have in parts of my garden, consider building raised beds or mounding your soil into ridges. This dramatically improves drainage and really gives your carrots room to stretch. For container gardeners, choose pots at least 12 inches deep and fill them with a high-quality potting mix blended with some sand for extra drainage. Not all carrots are created equal, and choosing the right variety for your conditions makes a massive difference. I've grown dozens of varieties over the years at Roothaven Grounds, and let me tell you, matching the carrot to your soil type is essential. If you have shallow or rocky soil, go with shorter varieties like Chantenay or Danvers types. These grow to about 5 to 7 inches and have a stockier shape that handles obstacles better. For those of you with deep, loose soil, you can grow the longer imperator types that reach 8 to 10 inches. Nantes varieties are my personal favorite for most home gardens because they're incredibly sweet, grow to a manageable 6 to 7 inches, and tolerate a wider range of soil conditions. For year-round production, I recommend planting a mix of varieties with different maturity dates. Some carrots are ready in as little as 50 days, while others need 70 to 80 days. This natural variation helps extend your harvest window. Carrot seeds are tiny, which makes spacing them properly a real challenge. I've struggled with this myself, often ending up with either overcrowded rows or, honestly, some pretty frustrating gaps. Here's what works best. Mix your carrot seeds with dry sand or coffee grounds before planting. This helps you see where you're sowing and naturally spaces the seeds better. Create shallow furrows about a quarter to half-inch deep in your prepared soil. Sprinkle your seed mixture along the row, trying to space seeds about 2 inches apart. Don't worry too much about perfection here because you'll be thinning later anyway. Cover lightly with fine soil and gently firm it down with your hand or the back of a rake. Here's a game changer I learned the hard way. Carrot seeds can take up to 3 weeks to germinate, and during that time, the soil absolutely must stay moist. I mean consistently moist, not letting it dry out even once. I cover my newly planted rows with a board or piece of burlap to retain moisture, checking daily and removing it the moment I see sprouts emerging. Some gardeners use row covers or even old sheets. Whatever you use, just make sure light can penetrate once those seeds start sprouting. About 2 weeks after your carrots germinate, when they're a couple of inches tall, you need to thin them. I know it feels wasteful pulling out perfectly good seedlings, but trust me on this. Carrots need space to develop properly. Crowded carrots will never size up correctly. Thin your carrots so they're spaced about 2 to 3 inches apart. For baby carrots or smaller varieties, you can get away with 1.5 to 2 inches. The thinnings are actually delicious in salads, so you're not wasting them at all. When you thin, pinch off the tops at soil level rather than pulling, which can disturb the roots of neighboring carrots. Consistent moisture is absolutely critical for growing great carrots. Inconsistent watering causes cracking, splitting, and poor development. I water my carrots deeply once or twice a week, providing about 1 inch of water total. The goal is to keep the soil evenly moist but never waterlogged. As your carrots grow, mulch between rows with straw or shredded leaves. This helps retain moisture, suppresses weeds, and keeps the soil temperature more consistent. Weeding is important, especially early on, but do it carefully because carrot roots are easily damaged. You'll notice the tops of your carrot roots starting to push up through the soil as they mature. This is normal, but those exposed shoulders can turn green and bitter. Just mound a bit of soil or mulch over them to keep them covered. Here's how you'll actually achieve that year-round carrot supply. Instead of planting your entire carrot crop at once, plant a new row or section every 2 to 3 weeks throughout your growing season. Start in early spring and continue through summer, stopping about 10 to 12 weeks before your first expected hard freeze. This staggered approach means you'll have carrots at different stages of maturity all the time. While you're harvesting one planting, the next is sizing up, and you've got seedlings just emerging from a more recent sowing. It takes a bit more planning initially, but once you get the rhythm down, you'll wonder why you ever did it differently. Most carrot varieties are ready to harvest between 50 and 80 days after planting. But honestly, the best way to know is to pull one and check. Gently brush away soil from the top of the root to check the diameter. Most carrots are best when they're about 3/4 to 1 inch across at the shoulder, though this varies by variety. To harvest, loosen the soil around the carrot with a garden fork, then grasp the greens close to the root and pull straight up with steady pressure. If your soil is loose enough, they'll slide right out. Harvest in the morning when it's cool and get them out of the sun quickly to prevent wilting. The beautiful thing about carrots is that they can stay in the ground well into winter, especially with some mulch protection. In fact, cold temperatures convert some of the starches to sugars, making them even sweeter. I often leave part of my fall planting in the ground under a thick layer of straw, harvesting as needed throughout winter. Once you've harvested your carrots, twist or cut off the greens right away, leaving about 1 inch of stem. The greens pull moisture from the roots and will cause them to become limp and bitter if left attached. For short-term storage, keep unwashed carrots in a plastic bag in your refrigerator's crisper drawer. They'll stay fresh for several weeks this way. For longer storage, especially if you've had a bumper crop, consider these methods. Layer them in damp sand in a cool basement or garage where temperatures stay between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or blanch and freeze them for cooking use later. Even with perfect care, you'll occasionally run into issues. Forked or twisted carrots usually result from rocky soil or fresh manure. Hairy carrots with lots of fine roots indicate inconsistent watering or over-fertilization. Short, stubby carrots that haven't sized up properly often mean the soil was too heavy or they were overcrowded. Carrot rust flies can be a problem in some areas, laying eggs near young plants. Row covers are your best defense. If you notice the leaves turning yellow and the roots getting tunneled, that's likely the culprit. Growing your own carrots at home truly is simpler than you might think. With loose soil, consistent moisture, proper spacing, and succession planting, you'll be pulling crisp, sweet carrots from your garden throughout the year. The satisfaction of growing your own food, knowing exactly what went into producing it, is something every gardener should experience. I hope this guide gives you the confidence to start your own continuous carrot production. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Roothaven Grounds for more practical gardening advice, and share this article with your fellow gardening friends who might be struggling with their carrot crops. Let's grow together, one root vegetable at a time. Happy gardening!